The galaxy had seen Earth's hidden fleet strike and destroy an Imperial armada. Billions had watched in awe, and fear had settled deep in the hearts of alien worlds. But the Empire did not forgive. They never forgave. In the Empire's core systems, war councils convened day and night. Massive fleets were assembled, stretching across light years. Every available ship, from colossal dreadnoughts to agile frigates, was mobilized. The Emperor demanded nothing less than Earth's total destruction. The humans knew this would come. The first strike had not been enough to end the threat. If the Empire survived, it would return stronger and more furious. Commander Elena Varga stood on the bridge of her flagship, Iron Resolve. Her eyes scanned the star charts, tracking the incoming Imperial forces. "They're coming," said Captain Hassan. "Every major fleet they have." Elena nodded. "Then we must be ready. Every ship, every weapon, every pilot, we cannot fail." The Empire's fleets moved with terrifying speed. Entire systems emptied as warships left their orbits. Planets that had known peace for centuries were now exposed, their defenses stripped to support the attack on Earth. On board one of the massive carriers, Admiral Khazar prepared his command. He had been chosen for his ruthlessness, a man feared across the galaxy for burning entire planets into ash. Now he faced something different: humans. "They think they can challenge us?" Khazar growled. "They are ants to the Empire. Every ship they have will be crushed. Every commander will die. Their world will be ash before they even understand the word war." But as he studied the human fleets approaching, he felt unease. The humans were organized, disciplined, and confident. They fought with intelligence, anticipating attacks, adapting to every move. His officers whispered to each other, and for the first time, Khazar wondered if Earth was stronger than they had imagined. Human scouts had already analyzed the Empire's fleet formation. Lieutenant Maria Santos and Captain Reeves watched from the Silent Hawk, noting every detail. "They have more ships than we've seen before," Maria said. "Hundreds of cruisers, dozens of carriers, and unknown war machines in the rear." Reeves frowned. "True, but they move like they've never faced us. Their formations are rigid. Their shields are powerful, but they rely on energy flow that can be interrupted. That's our chance." Elena gathered her commanders in the strategy room. "The Empire will throw everything at us," she said. "We cannot match them in numbers, but we can match them in tactics. Ambushes, coordinated strikes, and speed. We must pick their fleets apart before they reach Earth." General Marcus Hale spoke next. "We've trained for this. Every pilot has practiced against simulated fleets of this size. Every ship is armed with the best weapons we have. Today we show the Empire that numbers alone do not decide a battle." A hush fell over the room. They all knew the stakes. This battle would determine Earth's survival. The first encounter happened in the Orion sector. Human frigates emerged from stealth positions among asteroids, striking Imperial supply lines. Explosions lit up the darkness as missile volleys tore through cargo ships. Khazar's forces responded swiftly, unleashing energy beams and fighter swarms. But human ships anticipated the attack, maneuvering with precision. Dreadnoughts fired railguns that cut massive cruisers in half. Plasma turrets tore through shielded hulls. Within hours, the first Imperial fleet was shattered. But the Empire was relentless. Reinforcements poured in from nearby systems, doubling and then tripling the number of ships confronting humans. Space became a chaotic storm of fire and metal. On the Iron Resolve, Elena watched the display. "Remember your training. Focus fire, stay in formation, and do not hesitate. We cannot let them reach Earth." Human pilots followed orders with perfect discipline. They moved like a single organism, covering each other's weaknesses, striking at the Empire's blind spots. In one bold move, Elena's flagship led a squadron through a gravitational field, using it to accelerate and strike the rear of Khazar's fleet. A chain reaction of explosions rippled through the Imperial formation. Khazar's officers panicked. "Pull back," he roared. "Destroy their command ships." Meanwhile, Earth itself became a hub of activity. Civilian engineers monitored supply channels, feeding weapons and repairs to the front lines. Farmers and factory workers labored night and day, their efforts supporting the war thousands of kilometers away. President Okoro addressed the world. "The Empire has sent its fleets to destroy us, but we are ready. Every citizen, every soldier, every pilot stands as one. Today we fight not only for survival, but for our place in the galaxy. Humanity will not bow." Back in space, the second major battle erupted near the Sigma star cluster. Imperial warships tried to overwhelm human carriers, aiming to destroy drones before they could strike. But humans had anticipated this. Drones emerged from hidden compartments, swarming the Imperial fleet with blinding speed. They disabled shields, jammed communications, and even boarded smaller vessels. Human dreadnoughts fired massive plasma cannons, cutting through rows of cruisers like a blade through cloth. Explosions rocked space, leaving trails of debris that glimmered like shattered stars. By the end of the day, Khazar's forces were scattered. Entire fleets retreated to regroup, yet the humans knew this was only the beginning. On the command deck of the Iron Resolve, Elena turned to her officers. "The Empire will return," she said. "They will strike harder, and they will bring more ships. But today we have shown them that we are not prey. They have learned caution." General Hale nodded. "And the galaxy has seen it too. Others may now rise, knowing the Empire is not invincible." Indeed, whispers of hope were spreading faster than ever. In distant systems under Imperial control, oppressed peoples began plotting in secret. Traders offered supplies to human allies. Rebels sent messages across encrypted networks. Earth had become a symbol, not only of survival but of courage and unity. Even some neutral alien worlds reached out, offering intelligence, trade, and alliances. Humanity's influence was quietly growing, planet by planet, star by star, yet there were costs. Human ships had been lost. Skilled pilots were gone forever. Supply chains were stretched thin, and the Empire would return more determined than ever. Elena looked at the battle reports. Hundreds of Imperial ships destroyed, thousands of humans lost. It was a price they had known they might pay. But it was also proof of a truth she had always believed. Humanity could endure and humanity could win. She turned to her crew. "Rest, repair, and prepare. The next battle will be harder. The Empire will not forgive, and neither should we. Humanity has shown its strength, but strength alone is not enough. We must be smart, united, and fearless." In the far reaches of space, Khazar reported to the High Chancellor. "Their fleets are strong, their tactics cunning. But Earth is still a single planet. We will bring more fleets. We will crush them completely. Humanity will learn what the Empire can do." The High Chancellor's voice was cold and commanding. "Do not underestimate them. They may surprise you, but the Empire will endure. Humanity will fall, and the galaxy will remember who rules the stars." Back on Earth, Elena watched the stars in silence. She knew the galaxy's eyes were upon them. She knew the Empire would return with fury greater than anything they had seen. But she also knew something else. Humanity was ready. The hidden fleet had struck, and the galaxy had felt it. The first battle had been won, but the war for survival and respect was only beginning. And in that moment, deep in her heart, Elena felt a fire that would never be extinguished. The humans had survived. They had fought, and they would continue to rise. The marketplace of Varik 9 was alive with noise and color. Lights from thousands of stalls flickered across the metal streets. Alien voices called out to passing crowds selling strange foods, glowing crystals, and technology salvaged from forgotten wars. It was a place where every race in the galaxy gathered, trading and boasting, sharing news and rumors. Into this storm of sound and motion came the Iron Dune, a human convoy ship. Its metal frame looked plain compared to the polished vessels of wealthier species. But it carried cargo worth fortunes, scrap salvaged from old battlefields, recycled parts, and the newest kind of human defense drones. Humans had learned to build strong machines from little resources. Other species called it crude, but many secretly admired their efficiency. Captain Mira Hale stepped out first when her crew docked. She was tall, with short dark hair, and her eyes carried the sharpness of someone who had spent years in deep space. Behind her came Relo, her engineer, whose hands were stained with grease even though he had tried to clean them before leaving the ship. The rest of the crew followed with lighter steps, happy to breathe the open air of the bazaar after weeks in space. "Stay sharp," Mira told them. "Varik 9 is friendly until you give someone a reason to pick your pocket." Relo grinned. "Don't worry, Captain. I'll keep my tools close. If someone steals them, they'll regret it." The crew laughed softly, their spirits light. For a time, they simply walked the markets, selling parts, trading stories, and buying fresh food. But the peace did not last. At the center of the bazaar stood a raised platform where traders and nobles made speeches. Crowds gathered there whenever someone important arrived. Today, a tall figure in dark armor stood on that stage. His scaled skin glowed faintly under the lights, and his voice carried like thunder. It was Envoy Kareth of the Dread Sovereigns, the most feared species in the galaxy. The Dread Sovereigns were legends. They ruled dozens of systems, their fleets unmatched in speed and precision. Every race respected them or feared them. They called themselves Guardians of Honor, but many saw only arrogance and cruelty. Mira stopped when she heard his voice. The crowd around him leaned close, listening to his every word. He spoke of strength, of discipline, of tradition. And then he spoke of humans. These new creatures, Kareth said loudly, are noisy children. They build ships from scraps as if war is a game. Their designs are reckless, their tactics wild. They are not ready to join the great powers of the galaxy. To compare them with the Sovereigns is like comparing sand with steel, the crowd murmured. Some laughed in agreement, others kept quiet. Mira's crew stiffened. Relo clenched his fists. Mira stepped closer, her jaw tight. She hated arrogance more than anything. But she said nothing until a traitor's voice cut through the air. Then why not prove it, Envoy? The traitor shouted. Let the humans show what they can do. A duel of tactics for all to see. The crowd roared with interest. Kareth smiled, sharp teeth gleaming. A duel? Against a human? He asked, his voice full of mockery. Very well. If one among them dares to stand, let them face me here and now. Eyes turned to Mira. Her crew looked at her with mixed fear and hope. If she refused, humans would be mocked across the station. If she accepted, she risked humiliation before the galaxy. Mira stepped onto the stage. I'll accept, she said simply. Not with weapons, but with minds. A contest of tactics, Kareth laughed. As you wish, little human. The challenge begins. The duel was not of swords or guns. It was a contest of drones. Both sides were given a simple unit, small machines with thrusters and light arms. The goal was to outmaneuver the other in a maze of floating crates above the stage. Kareth moved first. His drone cut through the air with perfect precision, turning sharp corners and striking with flawless discipline. The crowd cheered as he disabled target after target, his movement smooth as a dance. See? Kareth called out. This is the way of control. This is the way of strength. When it was Mira's turn, her drone looked clumsy in comparison. It was patched with wires and moved with a slight wobble. The crowd laughed at first. But Mira's eyes were calm, and Rilo whispered, Trust the patchwork, Captain. It's not pretty, but it'll hold. Mira guided the drone into the maze. Instead of moving in straight, perfect lines, she darted unpredictably, bouncing off walls, hiding behind crates, and circling targets before striking from behind. The drone looked messy, but it was alive, clever, unpredictable. The crowd gasped as Mira's drone outmaneuvered Kareth's. Her machine darted under his, then leaped upward to disable it with one precise strike. Sparks flew. The duel ended, silence hung for a breath. Then the crowd erupted in cheers. Traitors laughed, pointing at Kareth. Even aliens who feared the Sovereigns could not hide their delight at seeing one humbled. Mira stepped forward. Strength is not only in control, she said. Sometimes strength is in adaptation. That is what humans bring. Kareth's eyes burned with fury. His honor had been wounded in front of hundreds of witnesses. He gave Mira a slow, dangerous smile. You have spirit, human. But remember this, Dread Sovereigns do not forget insult. You will face the consequences. With that, he left the stage, his cloak swirling behind him. The cheers of the crowd followed Mira, but she felt a chill in her chest. She knew this was far from over. That night, back aboard the Iron Dune, the crew celebrated their captain's victory. They laughed and replayed the duel on their screens, cheering at every clever move. But Mira sat apart, her face serious. Relo noticed and sat beside her. Captain? You should smile. You won today? I did, Mira said softly. But Kareth was right about one thing. The Dread Sovereigns don't forget. As if to answer her, an alarm rang. A courier drone had docked without warning. Mira ordered it scanned for danger. When it proved safe, the crew opened it. Inside was a sealed black box carved with the Dread Sovereign crest. When Mira opened it, a message burned in red across the screen. No voice, no detail. Just 3 words in their language a reckoning called. The crew went silent. Even Relo had no joke this time. Everyone in the galaxy knew what those words meant. It was not a duel, not a market insult. It was a declaration. The Sovereigns had demanded satisfaction, and humanity was now in their path. The Iron Dune hung in orbit above a neutral moon named Calves 4, a quiet place that served as a meeting point for human colonies and trading fleets. The ship's hull still carried scratches from long journeys, but now something far heavier weighed on the crew's minds, the black message box that lay on Captain Mira Hale's desk. Its words glowed faintly. A reckoning called. The crew gathered in the command room. Their faces were tense. Relo leaned against the wall, arms crossed, grease still smudged on his hands from the morning's repairs. The pilot, Jenna, tapped her foot nervously. The others whispered, but no one dared to break the silence. Finally, Mira spoke. Her voice was calm, though her eyes were sharp. This is no simple insult. The Dread Sovereigns have declared formal grievance against us. Against me? Against humanity. Relo gave a dry laugh, though there was no humor in it. All because you embarrassed Kareth in a drone match? Some honor system they've got. Jenna frowned. Don't mock it, Relo. Everyone knows what those words mean. Entire colonies have been punished for less. Mira nodded. Exactly. We can't ignore this. We must take the message to Human Command on this moon. They need to know before the Sovereigns move. Human Command, the neutral moon's surface bustled with activity. Human colonies had set up a large command center here, half military outpost and half diplomatic hub. When Mira and her crew entered, guards in navy blue uniforms saluted them quickly. The message had already spread. Whispers of dread sovereigns passed from mouth to mouth like a cold wind. Inside the council chamber, human leaders waited. Admiral Reyes, a stern woman with silver hair, sat at the head of the table. Beside her stood Diplomat Lorenz, a tall man with calm eyes known for his careful words. Scientists and advisors filled the rest of the room. Mira placed the black message box on the table. Its glow cast red light on every face. The room grew silent as Admiral Reyes opened it. She read the words aloud. A reckoning called. The weight of the phrase settled over them like stone. Everyone knew the history. When the Dread Sovereigns called a reckoning, it meant punishment, blockade, or sometimes outright war. No species had ever come out unscathed. They demand an answer. Admiral Reyes said slowly, We can either send apology and tribute, or face sanctions. Relo spoke before Mira could stop him. Tribute? Apology? For what? Winning fair and square? That's madness. Admiral Reyes shot him a cold look, but Mira raised her hand. He's right. If we bow here, it sets the tone for all future dealings. Humans will always be seen as weak, easy to control. We can't afford that. Diplomat Lawrence leaned forward. His voice was quiet but firm. Captain Hale, boldness has its place. But consider the balance. The Sovereigns are not just powerful. They are feared. Their fleets are larger than ours. Their reach is wide. If we resist too strongly, we may bring destruction upon dozens of human colonies. So what do you suggest? Mira asked. Lawrence spread his hands. Caution. Perhaps a symbolic apology. Enough to ease their pride, but not enough to shame us. If we can delay, perhaps they will lose interest. Mira shook her head. They won't lose interest. Kreth's pride is wounded. He'll push until he feels satisfied. If we only bend, they will see weakness. Admiral Reyes studied Mira for a long time. And what do you propose, Captain? Mira glanced at her crew, then back at the Admiral. We answer them. Not with apology, but with challenge. On human terms. We show them that we respect their ways, but we have our own. The chamber filled with uneasy murmurs. A young officer whispered, That's suicide. Another said, It could work. They respect boldness. Lawrence frowned deeply. Captain, their culture is built on honor, yes. But it is also built on control. A human counter-challenge might only anger them more. Mira held her ground. Then let them be angered. Better to face their wrath standing tall than crawling. Loophole in the code that night. Mira and her crew met privately in the Iron Dune. Relo had spent hours digging through old records of sovereign law and custom. He laid a datapad on the table, his eyes bright with discovery. Look here, he said. It's old, nearly forgotten, but it's still part of their code. If someone rejects a sovereign's demand for apology, they can issue a counter-challenge. A test of skill judged by neutrals. The sovereigns don't like it, but they can't ignore it. The crew leaned over the datapad. Mira read carefully. The words were hard to understand, but the meaning was clear. Bold defiance could be turned into a formal contest instead of war. This is it, Mira said. This is our path. If we show them we'll fight with our minds and hearts, maybe we can protect human honor without starting a bloodbath. Jenna still looked uneasy. And if they crush us in the contest? What then? Mira met her gaze. Then we face it. Together. The meeting platform. The next day, the Sovereigns arrived in orbit above Calvus 4. Their ship was massive, shaped like a blade cutting through the stars. Its hull gleamed black and its engines burned with quiet menace. The sight alone silenced entire cities on the moon. On a wide platform built for diplomacy, the humans gathered with Mira at the front. Kreth stood opposite her, his scaled armor shining, his eyes cold and proud. Around them, representatives from dozens of species watched. No one wanted to miss this. Kreth's voice boomed. You humiliated me before the eyes of traitors and children. You insulted the honor of the Sovereigns. Do you crawl now, human? Do you beg forgiveness? The crowd held its breath. Mira stepped forward. Her voice was steady. No, I do not crawl. I do not beg. Instead, I issue a counter-challenge by your own code. A contest of skill, judged by neutrals. Not a duel of death, but a trial of honor. The platform erupted in murmurs. Some gasped, others laughed. No one had expected a human to know such old law. Kreth's eyes narrowed. For a moment, Mira thought he might strike her down where she stood. Then he laughed, low and dangerous. You dig an old dust, human. But very well. By our code, I cannot refuse. We shall have your contest. Relief and tension mixed in Mira's chest. She had won the first step. But then Kreth raised a clawed hand. And the judge, he declared, shall be the Black Tribunal. The words fell like stone. The platform went silent. Even seasoned diplomats paled. The Black Tribunal was the warcast of the Sovereigns, secretive and feared. They judged with absolute authority, and their rulings never favored those who challenged sovereign honor. Mira's crew exchanged nervous glances. Relo muttered, Well, Captain, you wanted bold. Now we've got impossible. Mira kept her face calm, though her heart pounded. She had made her choice, and there was no turning back. Aftermath that night, Mira stood alone on the Iron Dunes viewing deck, staring out at the stars. The glow of the Sovereign ship loomed in the distance, sharp and menacing. The weight of her decision pressed on her shoulders. Relo approached quietly. You really think we can beat them? The Black Tribunal? Mira didn't turn. I don't know. But I know this. If we don't try, humanity will always be seen as prey. If we win even once, they will have to respect us. Relo gave a small smile. Then let's make history. Again. Mira finally looked at him, a faint smile touching her lips. Yes, again. The stars outside were silent, but in the quiet Mira could almost hear the galaxy holding its breath. A simple duel in a market had become something much larger. The path ahead led straight into the heart of danger, and the deadliest beings in the galaxy were waiting. The Iron Dune drifted silently toward the arena station. It was not a place built for war, yet it carried the weight of countless battles of honor. The structure hung in orbit around a dead star, its shell black and jagged like the bones of some great creature. The station had no lights except for a faint red glow pulsing across its surface, as if the dead star itself still bled through the cracks. Every race in the galaxy knew this place. It was where the Black Tribunal judged those who dared challenge the Dread Sovereigns. No one entered lightly. Few left with honor. Inside the ship, Captain Mira Hale stood at the viewing port, her arms folded tight. Her crew gathered around her, their faces pale. Jenna, the pilot, broke the silence. It feels like flying into the mouth of a beast. Relo forced a grin, though it looked weak. Let's just hope the beast doesn't like the taste of humans. No one laughed. Mira turned to face them. Her eyes were steady, though her heart beat faster than she liked. Listen, this isn't just about us. The Sovereigns think humans are reckless children. If we win, even barely, it proves we belong here. If we fail, she stopped. She didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what failure meant. Humiliation for all of humanity. Perhaps even punishment for colonies that had nothing to do with the duel. Relo raised his datapad. I've studied what I could about these trials. They test navigation, command, and technical skill. 3 stages, each harder than the last. They claim it shows true honor. Or it shows how easily they can crush challengers, Jenna muttered. Mira placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll give them something they don't expect. Humans don't play by the same rules. That's our strength. The tribunal arrives. The docking bay of the arena was vast and empty, echoing with the hum of unseen machines. As the crew stepped out, they saw figures waiting in the shadows. tall, armored beings with faces hidden under black masks. Their cloaks dragged against the metal floor like whispers. The Black Tribunal. No one knew how many of them existed, or even if they were fully alive. They moved with perfect unity, their voices one when they spoke. "You stand accused of dishonoring the sovereigns," the tribunal intoned, their words deep and hollow. "You have refused apology. You have issued counter-challenge. So by ancient law you shall be tested." Mira bowed her head slightly. "We are ready." The tribunal raised their hands. 3 trials. Win 2 and you keep your honor. Fail, and the reckoning shall fall. From the shadows, Envoy Kareth stepped forward. His smile was cold, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "And I shall compete as the sovereign's champion. Let the galaxy witness your fall." The crowd of alien observers cheered softly. Representatives from dozens of species had come to watch, curious to see if the humans would break. Some whispered bets. Most expected failure. Trial 1 on navigation, the first trial began above the dead star itself. A field of debris spun slowly in orbit. Broken satellites, jagged rocks, and shards of metal glowing faintly with heat. It was a maze of danger. Each side was given a small shuttle. Mira sat at the controls, Relo beside her. Across the field, Kareth's sleek craft gleamed like polished steel. The tribunal's voice echoed across the comms. "The trial begins. First to cross the field without collision shall claim victory." Kareth launched forward with smooth grace. His ship cut through the obstacles in perfect sharp lines. Every turn was precise, every move efficient. Mira started slower. She wove carefully at first, studying the field. Relo frowned. "Captain, he's going to beat us if we don't push harder." "Wait," Mira said. Her eyes scanned the spinning debris. Then she saw it. The pieces moved in rhythm like a slow dance. Instead of fighting it, she adjusted the shuttle to ride the natural flow. The ship drifted, bouncing lightly off smaller fragments, sliding through narrow gaps. It looked messy, even clumsy, but it worked. They rode the current instead of forcing against it. Gasps echoed from the observers as Mira's shuttle slipped past Kareth's. He snarled, pushing harder, but his precise movements became rigid. One mistake cost him. His wing clipped a shard of metal, spinning his craft off course. Mira's shuttle crossed the finish line first. The crowd roared in surprise. "The first trial goes to the humans," the tribunal declared. Relo pumped his fist. "That's one." Mira allowed herself a small smile, but her chest remained tight. They still had 2 more trials to face. Trial 2, Command. The second trial was held inside the arena's core chamber. Holographic walls surrounded the participants, creating a full simulation. This time it was not about flying or fighting, but leading. A scenario appeared. A colony under attack, civilians trapped, fires spreading. Both Mira and Kareth were given virtual teams of soldiers and rescue crews. The goal: save as many lives as possible within the time limit. Kareth barked orders like a general, sending units with ruthless efficiency. He saved large groups quickly, but he sacrificed smaller ones without hesitation. His numbers rose fast. Mira hesitated at first. The weight of decisions pressed on her. But then she remembered her crew, how they trusted her, how humans fought best when they cared for each other. "Split the teams," she ordered. "Small groups to each sector. Save everyone we can, even if it's harder." Her forces spread out. Progress was slower, but her choices built momentum. Units supported one another. Survivors joined the effort, and the chain of rescues grew stronger. By the end, her numbers were only slightly behind Kareth's, but her teams had rescued families he had abandoned. The tribunal studied the results. Their voices rumbled. Efficiency or compassion? The line of honor is thin. They debated for long minutes while the crowd whispered. Finally, they declared the trial is a tie. Both show command worthy of judgment. Mira exhaled. It was not a loss, but not a full win either. She would need the final trial to decide everything. Trial 3, the technical duel. The last trial was the most dangerous. In a sealed chamber stood a replica of an ancient weapon, an energy cannon so powerful it could pierce starship hulls. The challenge: disable the weapon without destroying it. Both Mira's crew and Kareth were given access to the machine at the same time. Tools spread across the chamber. The weapon hummed with deadly power, lights flashing as if eager to fire. Kareth moved first, cutting through panels with speed. His claws worked like blades, tearing wires, shutting down circuits with brutal force. Sparks flew as he forced the machine to bend to his will. Relo crouched beside the weapon, eyes darting over the systems. Captain, if we pull wires like that, we'll overload the core. We need another way. Mira knelt beside him. Find it, fast. Relo's hands moved quickly. He spotted a cluster of heat vents, small and almost hidden. Here, the weapon bleeds power through waste heat. If we block the vents, the system will overheat and shut itself down. They scrambled, using scraps of metal and coolant gel to plug the vents. The weapon's hum grew louder, its lights flashing wildly. Then with a sudden hiss, the core went dark. The machine powered down safely. Kareth's eyes widened in shock. His own brutal method had only half disabled his side of the cannon. The humans had solved it first and without causing damage. The crowd erupted. Species that had doubted humanity now whispered with awe. The third trial goes to the humans, the tribunal declared. Mira stood tall, though sweat ran down her neck. They had done it. They had won 2 trials. Humanity had defended its honor, the verdict, but the tribunal did not dismiss them. Their cloaked figures leaned closer, their voices deeper. Yet honor is not clean. The sovereign's pride remains wounded. The humans have proven boldness, but insult lingers. The judgment, the humans must undertake penance. The chamber stilled. Mira felt her stomach drop. What kind of penance? She asked. The tribunal raised their hands. A hologram appeared, an ancient map marked with a single red star. You shall retrieve the relic of the sovereigns lost within the silent maw. None who enter return. If you succeed, honor shall be satisfied. If you fail, reckoning shall fall upon your kind. Kareth's smile returned, sharp as a blade. The maw will devour you, little human, and when it does, humanity will kneel. The tribunal's cloaks swirled as they turned away. The trials were over, but Mira knew the real challenge had just begun. Mira returned to the Iron Dune. Her crew waited, eyes searching her face. Well? Jenna asked. Mira looked at them one by one. We won, but the price is higher than I ever feared. We're going into the silent maw. The crew fell silent. They all knew the legends of that place. Ships vanishing, strange whispers, shadows in the dark. Relo broke the silence with a shaky laugh. Well, Captain, looks like we're about to make history again. Mira nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars. Then let's make sure it's a story worth telling. The Iron Dune slipped silently into the silent maw. The area was a shadowed system at the edge of the galaxy, long abandoned and feared by all who knew its legends. Stars seemed dimmer here, their light refracted by clouds of frozen dust and jagged asteroids that hung like ghostly monuments. The maw had a reputation. No ship sent there ever returned. Even the dread sovereigns spoke of it with caution, a place where space itself seemed alive and hungry. Mira's crew worked in tense silence, checking every system, recalibrating shields and running simulations. Quiet, Mira ordered. The maw isn't just dangerous because of rocks and radiation. There's something more. Pay attention to every sensor reading. Relo leaned over the navigation console, adjusting the trajectory. I've never seen grav fields this unstable. One wrong move and we'll spin into an asteroid or vanish into a gravity well. Jenna, the pilot, kept her hands steady on the controls. At least no one else is here to get in our way, she muttered, though even her voice carried tension. Ghosts of the maw as they entered the densest part of the maw, strange signals appeared on the sensors. Communications that should not have existed blinked on the display. Old distress calls, echoes of ships that had vanished decades ago. Relo frowned. These aren't active signals. They're ghosts, old transmissions somehow trapped in this system. They're repeating. Over and over, Mira studied the screen. Do they want to warn us or trap us? A sudden shiver ran through the crew. The ship seemed heavier, as if the maw itself resisted their presence. Debris fields moved in patterns that defied physics, twisting and turning as if alive. Steady, Mira said. We navigate by instinct now. Trust the ship, trust each other. The crew obeyed. Even in fear, humans worked together seamlessly. Each maneuver, each correction flowed from years of experience and trust. The first challenge hours into the maw, the Iron Dune approached the first major obstacle, a massive asteroid field that shifted unpredictably. Some rocks were enormous, easily larger than their ship, others tiny but dense enough to pierce the hull. Mira guided the ship carefully. Relo, calculate gaps. Jenna, keep engines ready to adjust instantly. The ship weaved through the rocks like a dancer. One misstep would crush them instantly. Yet Relo noticed something. Hidden paths between the asteroids, subtle movements that suggested the maw had patterns. "Captain, look," Relo said, pointing to the holographic display. "It's like it's alive. It's moving but following rules. If we follow the rhythm, we can slip through." Mira nodded. "Do it. Trust it. Trust us." They moved with the maw, sliding between rocks, dodging deadly collisions. The crew worked in perfect coordination, hearts pounding, senses sharp. When they cleared the field, a quiet cheer rose from the team. "First challenge done," Relo said, still sweating. "But I have a bad feeling about the next part." Mira gave a small smile. "It only gets harder from here. Stay ready." The ruins deeper into the maw, the ship encountered ruins. Ancient structures floated in space, remnants of a species long vanished. Towers of blackened metal and broken spires jutted from craters, some spinning slowly. Symbols glowed faintly on walls, pulsing like heartbeat signals. "This is incredible," Jenna whispered. "Who built this?" "No one knows," Mira said. "But it survived for thousands of years. And whatever created it wanted it to test intruders." As they navigated through the ruins, sensors picked up more strange activity. Automated defenses still operated, firing beams at objects moving too close. These beams were non-lethal but powerful, enough to pierce hull plates. Relo grinned nervously. "Looks like someone left us a welcoming gift." Mira ignored him. "Steady. Observe the pattern. Wait for the rhythm. Move only when safe." The ship danced through the defenses, dodging each beam. It was exhausting, precise work. Hours passed, but the crew never faltered. Every movement mattered. Every mistake could cost everything. The heart of the maw. Finally, they arrived at the heart of the silent maw. A large, cracked moon, its surface covered in ice and shadowed valleys. The relic of the sovereigns rested there, an ancient artifact said to hold immense power. Mira landed the ship carefully on a small plateau. The crew stepped out, their boots crunching on frost. The air was thin and cold, but breathable. The relic sat at the center of a ruined temple, glowing faintly with blue light. Strange symbols surrounded it, shifting as if alive. Relo stepped forward. "This is it. The Sovereign's prize." Mira studied the relic. "It's not enough to take it. The maw will test anyone who touches this. Look for traps." Every ancient civilization had safeguards. As they approached, the ground trembled slightly. Shadows moved, but there was no wind, no life. Only the relic's glow. The test. The relic was protected by a puzzle, not violence. Symbols floated in the air, forming a complex pattern. Touch the wrong symbol and a trap would trigger. Energy pulses that could harm or trap. Mira studied the symbols carefully. "It's a test of thought, not strength. We need to understand what it wants." Relo examined the structure. "It's linked to our intentions. The maw reacts to fear, greed, even hesitation." The crew worked together, placing symbols in sequence. Each step required trust, timing, and understanding of one another. Mistakes caused pulses of energy to ripple across the floor, but no one was injured. Finally, after tense moments, the last symbol aligned. The relic pulsed brightly and the energy shield disappeared. Mira carefully picked it up. "Got it," she said. Relief washed over her, though she felt the weight of responsibility. Ambush on the way back. The journey back to the ship was not smooth. A sudden flare appeared on sensors, stealth vessels moving faster than any known ship. "They've followed us," Jenna said. "Privateers or someone else who knows about the relic." Mira clenched her jaw. "Defend the ship, but don't risk the relic. We can't afford damage or capture." The ambushers fired, but the humans acted with precision. Using decoys, calculated maneuvers, and quick thinking, they evaded capture. Relo rigged temporary disruptors to scramble sensors, confusing their attackers. The privateers gave up, or perhaps the maw itself drove them away. The Iron Dune emerged from the shadows, carrying humans and relics safely, though shaken. Returned to the tribunal back at the arena station, Mira presented the relic to the Black Tribunal. The crowd watched, curious and tense. Kareth's eyes burned with fury, but he said nothing. The tribunal examined the artifact. Their cloaks swirled as they moved closer. "You have survived the silent maw," they intoned. "You have retrieved the relic, yet the relic must be returned to sovereign space. Its removal binds you to an ancient covenant. Fail this, and consequences will be dire." Mira's heart sank. They had succeeded in retrieving the relic, but now a deeper challenge awaited. The rules of the Covenant were strict and binding, and they had no choice but to comply. Relo leaned close. "Captain, looks like the fun isn't over yet." Mira nodded. "No. The hardest part is just beginning." The silent maw faded behind them, dark and foreboding. But the stars ahead seemed brighter. The crew had survived what no one else dared to attempt, proving that human courage, intelligence, and teamwork could overcome even the deadliest challenges. Yet the relic's glow reminded them that the Dread Sovereign's game was far from finished. The galaxy watched, and humanity's place within it had just grown heavier with responsibility,